listening to SFP-NOW.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of SFP Now. On this show we have a cracking interview with none other than Mr Ketch himself, David Haydn Jones, who fans will know as Mr Ketch from Supernatural. And later on the show we have Raissa on, who's going to be doing the TV talk segment with us. But first, the interview. I've been looking forward to sort of sharing this one with you, so here it is, David Haydn Jones. I'd like to welcome a very special guest to the show this week. We have David Haydn Jones, otherwise known as the mysterious, the deadly, the sociopathic, the Mr Ketch from Supernatural. I almost said Mr Ketchup then.
Yeah, oh my God, the puns have been running fast and furious on set, man.
I bet.
You name it, we've probably done it.
Okay, well, the first question I got really is the one that I ask everyone really that's involved in acting is how did you get into acting and what was the appeal of acting for you?
Well, my mum and dad were very into theater and dance and the arts and all that sort of stuff. So I think my first genesis was I was 6. I had my first community play, and I had 2 lines, I think, and it was Wally from Our Town. I don't know if you're familiar with the play or if your listeners are, but that was sort of it, really. And then I got my first job at 15 as a singer and dancer at an amusement park, and all my other friends were sort of either working retail or flipping burgers, and I was sort of, dancing with all these nice nubile young ladies, and I was like, this kind of works for me. I think I'll do this.
Yeah, it's certainly better than flipping burgers.
Well, it didn't suck. Let's just put it that way. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's probably the reason I picked up a guitar about 4 years ago, just so I could get picked up by young nubile ladies.
I'll tell you. Listen, there's something to be said. There's something to be said to have good art game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's something to be said about having a guitar. You don't even have to know how to play it. You just carry one around on your back in the street and you get all these smiling women at you.
Sling it around your back and just sort of,
stick a trilby hat on, look cool, some leather, you're sorted.
Well done. I gotta say, that is my big one regret, that I never picked up the guitar. I played the trumpet instead, which does not get you chicks. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I play piano too, so...
Yeah, I play piano. Piano gets you close to the way, but you can't take the piano around with you around the campfire, You gotta have the campfire game, and you have that with a guitar.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, a few magazines and so forth have actually compared you to Cary Grant, which is a pretty big compliment given the career that he had. Now, if you had a chance to star in a remake of Cary Grant classic, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, that is an incredibly kind and overreaching, probably, compliment for me from whoever said that somewhere on the internet. I would love to have done one of his thrillers with. What's am I thinking? North by Northwest?
I think you probably are, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking North by Northwest or something along that lines with one of his Alfred Hitchcock movies. I think would have been amazing.
I think he did To Catch a Thief as well, didn't he?
Yeah, To Catch a Thief. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, so
just one of those. obviously, cinema has changed so much, and and careers in the acting profession has changed so much. But there is something beautiful about that sort of era of cinema, like late 50s, early 60s, and just the suits and the class and the debonaireness and all that sort of stuff. So obviously, that is, I am not comparing myself to Cary Grant at all. However, I will say, though, I love the idea that Ketch is a bit of a throwback to that era, a bit of a dandy, if you will.
Cool. Well, I actually, I don't know where I read it. I just picked it up somewhere on the internet. It was I think it was an internet blog or something, and they were kind of comparing you to Cary Grant, and I thought, okay.
Well, you're like, yeah, we don't believe everything we hear on the internet, as we know. The internet has barely worked for us today. God bless it.
Okay. Well, looking at your IMDb, you've done a good mix of romantic leads as well as roles in shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and such. Do you have a preference when it comes to the various roles that you take on? What do you look for?
Yeah, go ahead. You know what? I'm not being cheeky here when I say this. Every job is the best new job, if that makes sense. So I don't know if you know a lot of actors personally, or, I'm sure you've interviewed a lot of them. I never try to judge the role or the material. What I try to do is, just because one is fortunate enough just to be working in this industry, even with how it's changed radically in the last 10 years, you always, I'm sort of like I talk to my British friend actors when I get over there, and there's more of a sense of a journeyman career in England. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Do a play, do a commercial, do a short film, do a film. There's no judgment on the work. You just kind of keep working. Sometimes in Hollywood, you sort of always framing it for what's it going to do to my brand or my career. And I think I definitely work more English in that way, which is just sort of be a journeyman and just try to invest and not judge each role. And, obviously some scripts will be better than others, but just happy to be working, and work begets work. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a pretty good philosophy, because there's probably many actors in Hollywood that are busting bars and whatnot than there are those that are actually actively working. Gracious,
yes. Oh my gosh. The SAG statistics on actual actors working percentage at any given time is so minuscule, right? And with social media in the last 6 to 7 years really exploding, and celebrity being a new career, if that makes sense, being famous as sort of a new career is the goal, that's very different than acting, right?
Yeah.
You can actually have a job as a celebrity, and that job interests me nothing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with you there. I'd rather be, paid and well respected for actually being good at something, as opposed to just being a celebrity.
Yeah, well, meritocracy and a craft, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're good, you get your rewards. If you not so good, you just keep trying.
And that's exactly it. Sort of just my whole goal was to make my living as an actor, which I rolled over like 10 years ago, and I thought I made it, right? I would also say that so many people think they know how a project is going to go, and they never know. I've had stuff that I thought was going to be, terrible and actually become quite popular with people. And other stuff I thought for sure was going to do something well for my career, and it got buried, it got tanked. It didn't work, right? Mm-hmm. For a myriad of reasons. And you see that with, famous directors and actors. There's so many ways a project can go wrong from start to finish. No one really knows what's going to catch the public. So to try to imagine that the next job is going to be the job is such a waste of energy, really.
Exactly. A role that you've recently landed, and it's a great recurring role from what I've heard and the little I've seen of it so far, is you've now got the role of Mr Ketch on Supernatural, who is sort of an agent of the Men of Letters. How did you come to get this role, and what can you actually tell us about him?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of spoilers and mystery surrounding the guy. I will say this, it is an absolute joy of a role to play. Talk about a role that I'm just delighted to be living in and playing in right now. I auditioned like anyone else. I had 3 auditions, and it's interesting the evolution of the guy as well. So half of my family is British, and my mom's American, and my folks got married in London. And so I have this sort of UK contingency on one side of my family. And so when I went into the audition, they had been described as an assassin and riding a motorcycle. So I went in sort of with this estuary, bruiser, accent sort of disheveled and in my leather jacket and stuff like that. And they liked what they saw in energy-wise, and then they said, well, we flipped him. We made him more Roger Moore, James Bond, so we want a more received pronunciation and posh. And so I was like, my Uncle Dave, who went to public school, is just beyond posh. So I was like, well, I know that guy a little bit, so what if I could blend my Uncle Dave with sort of what I call the butler assassin? So that sort of was the genesis, and then I had 2 more callbacks. Cool. And then I didn't hear anything for a month, and then off to the races.
Oh, cool. What do you believe actually drives Mr. Ketch as a character?
He loves to hunt. He's definitely hunter in terms of the realm of that world. He's very similar to Dean that way. He's driven to it. It's in his primal DNA, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then also he's bound by duty and loyalty. So he's also very loyal to the cause, which is kind of fun. Andrew Dabb has said the British men of letters are treating it more as taking on terrorism throughout the world, which I think is a very nice metaphor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I must thank somebody very quickly for helping with these questions. My friend Patrick Hayes, who's a massive fan of Supernatural, is basically, he does the reviews for us on the website now and again. He helped me come up with these because he's a little bit further along. I've only seen the first 4 episodes so far.
Okay, so there's the reveal has yet to happen.
Mm-hmm. Fun. I think I did catch a quick glimpse of you on the motorcycle in about the 3rd episode.
That's right. They've been teasing it out very well. The mid-season finale was when you actually got to see my entrance, and that seemed to cause a bit of a stir, which I'm pleased about. Really fun, really good fun.
Well, much like the old style Bond, Ketch has a hell of a lot of gadgets in the trunk of his car.
That's
now,
right.
Out of all of those gadgets, what one would you most like to see him use in future episodes?
Oh, well, goodness. So he only reveals 2 in his first big reveal, but that is a running theme with Ketch. He always has a new toy every episode, or one he's sort of trying out. And so I really think he's a bit of a weapon fetishist, if that makes sense. So I think every new toy is the best new toy, if you get my meaning. And there's a few new ones coming.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of like going to be a cross between Roger Moore and Brosnan's James Bond before Brosnan.
Yeah, exactly right. And sort of like he's Q and Bond rolled into one, and then also talks about his the team, which are half metaphysical, half engineers. So it's quite fun.
Wow. If it came down to it, do you think Mr. Ketch could take out Mr. Davis?
I'm going to plead the 5th on that one, sir.
Yeah, I kind of figured that one might be potentially stolen.
No, I've said nothing. You know nothing, I've said nothing. Yeah. Don't make me come over there with my weapons, my toys, because I know where you live now.
Okay, well, here's another one, and you might have to plead 5th on as well. Who do you think would give Ketch the most difficulty in a straight-up knock-down brawl, Sam or Dean?
Oh, gosh, that's a good question. I got to go with Sam because he's got the height. Dean and I are about the same size and the same, weight class. So Sam has got the reach and the height. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with Sam either because Sam's also got a bit of psychic ability.
That's right.
From the past episodes I've seen. Ketch is actually being built up to be a very bad man. Is he someone that you could actually see yourself hanging out with?
Well, as long as he's buying the drinks and driving me around in the car, I could be like, well, I could, maybe I could hang out with him as long as I'm on his good side. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I think he's, everyone says he's being teed up to be the villain, but I think there could be a lot more nuance in this guy than we think, and possibly even redemption should the writers choose to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
He has many masks and many strategies. So even though he's a true believer and he likes to hunt, he obviously doesn't think he's evil. So when people throw around this word sociopath, that's all in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a strange one, you know. Some people accuse me of having no empathy, but there you go.
Question from Ian.
Yeah. I should audition to be Mr Ketch, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe he has a brother. Who knows? We'll see what we can do.
Mr. Up.
That's right.
Okay, in the series, Ketch seems to be wanting to help Sam and Dean. Why do you think he's so fixated with them?
Well, he personally isn't. In his own language that's been revealed, and I know you haven't caught up to the present and the UK audience hasn't, because I think you guys are 3 months behind, something like that, what we are. Yeah. He says, so this is not a spoiler, he doesn't care one way or the other. He's just he's not an ideologue. He's been told by his higher-ups to do this. He is simply executing a task from the older men who run the British Men of Letters. So he's a loyal soldier, and he does as he's told. Mm-hmm. So by Mick as well. Mick is technically is his boss.
So he's basically just following orders.
He, just like Bond technically does, from time to time. It'll be interesting to see if and when Ketch goes off the farm, or whatever that expression is. What is it? It's an American phrase. But we'll just see how long Ketch, stays loyal to the team, to Sam and Dean, and I think he's got a lot of angles, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, moving on from the supernatural stuff, I noticed that you had a brief role in the film White House Down, which starred Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. Did you get to spend time with any of those guys while on the set of the film?
I didn't. I was alone in my trailer a lot for that, and what was interesting about that, because I was sort of a reporter that was covering all the chaos outside the actual White House, so I basically did 8 days of just improv, wall-to-wall, of me just sort of pretending I was watching all these imaginary explosions. Although, to be fair, there was about 500 to 600 extras and tanks and practical police cars. I've never worked on a sound stage this big or that broad before, and to see the money and the scope of a huge film was, even though I had a small supporting role, it was quite an amazing thing to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun popcorn movie, that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's great fun, It's sort of, very much an homage to Die Hard. They don't apologize for it. In fact, there's some quotes to it, and I was just pleased that I had even, made it into the movie, because honestly, with those things, there's a lot on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm. And my last question is concerning voice work for video games. Medal of Honor springs to mind. How was that experience for you? And do you ever indulge in the odd video game in your spare time?
I used to. I have no time. I have no spare time anymore, which is not a terrible thing. Between my family and career and travel and all that sort of stuff, I'm a busy boy. But Medal of Honor was great fun. It was my first video game. I will say this though, and I'm sure you know that there's a SAG strike going on right now for video game voicing. Uh-huh. I couldn't talk for 3 days from all the yelling, screaming, and dying I was doing.
I bet.
So no, I mean, really, like take after take after take of full effort, grunting, screaming, charging, yelling, all that military stuff. I was rather hoarse, and I've only done a couple of them, and it's interesting to see the debate going on with the video game companies right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also a bit weird, video games and movies. It's actually getting ever closer to the two merging, because we recently had a Star Wars Rogue One in which they kind of replicated Peter Cushing over the face of another actor, and they also did a brief Carrie Fisher over the face of another actor. So
it's pretty trippy, and as a fan of Grand Moff Tarkin myself, and sort of watching some old Peter Cushing too as I prepared for Ketch. Just the great, even heightened RP with the rolling R's. I was like, well, I don't think it's that much. But, like, just he's so great as Grand Moff Tarkin. So it was kind of trippy. It took me out a little bit, but there was parts of Rogue One that I was like, yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad they attempted it, but it gets into this murky territory, right? Now, can you recreate dead actors? It's fascinating. Although I saw that they had given them the estate of Cushing had given the go-ahead, so I guess it's all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be something that's going to be open for debate over the next few years. Is it morally right to do and whatnot? It's a
I agree with you.
Weird one. Well, David, it's been great speaking to you. I know that you've actually got quite a busy lineup of interviews, so. That was my last question. So, is there anything you'd like to add? Any new roles that you'd like to quickly talk about before we?
No. I mean, I'm delighted that they booked me for 2 more of Ketch. I've been from what I've gotten no haters on the role yet. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully there's more to come. Obviously, I'm just on a case-by-case basis, but I've been working so much on Supernatural, and for me personally, I've really been enjoying where the character's going. I hope the audience does as well. So we'll see.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for coming on to the show and talking to us. It's been great to get to know you a little bit, and
Hey man, absolutely my pleasure, Ian. Thanks so much.
And I'd like to thank David Haydn Jones for taking time out of his busy schedule to actually talk to us. It was really good speaking to him and learning about his role of Mr Ketch in Supernatural. But now it's time for our TV talk segment with myself and Raissa. How you doing, Raissa?
Very well, thank you.
I'm pretty good too. I kind of feel bad that we're starting TV talk off on a sad note. As we all know, earlier this month, was it the end of January? It was the end of January, wasn't it?
Yes.
We lost the great Sir John Hurt, who's known for various roles in things such as George Orwell's 1984, The Naked Civil Servant, and perhaps the role that made him famous in terms of pop culture would have been the role that he had on Alien, where the alien bursts from his chest, sort of thing.
Yes.
But in later years, he played the War Doctor for Big Finish.
Yes, Big Finish has been doing a really good job expanding on classic and modern Doctor Who characters, and they gave him the opportunity, or rather, he gave them the opportunity to put out some box sets that really, really did justice to the character. They gave him some superb scripts, and we're both waiting on the final box set to drop sometime this month.
And also, he's going to be playing the Invisible Man this month in a release from Big Finish as well.
Yes, they have classics. They have a classics range, and they're going to be doing a bunch of H.G. Wells's, and they got him. Fortunately for the Invisible Man, he's going to be playing Griffin as one of his swan songs for Big Finish. I'm really looking forward to that.
So am I. I'm actually looking forward to all that H.G. Wells range. There's actually an interview about it with the producer at Big Finish. Not Nicholas Briggs. It's a guy that's actually producing the H.G. Wells range of stories. And it's really, really interesting. Apparently, all those H.G. Wells stories now that they're old, older than 70 years, they're out of copyright. So anyone can actually, do an adaptation of H.G. Wells or use his stories and expand upon them without fear of lawsuits and stuff like that. So. And that's why Big Finish has jumped in there, because it's a free property. They don't have to pay any licensing fees to use.
Well, yeah, that's why I wish they would expand the classics range more, because there are a lot of classics that fall in that category, and a lot of really awesome titles. Mm-hmm. For instance, I would love for them to, because they have John Barrowman on the roster now through Torchwood. I would love for them to give him the lead role in Mark Twain's Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. I mean, I'd also, there's quite a few Mark Twain stories that I'd love to see getting Big Finish adaptations. Such as maybe the Tom Sawyer stories on Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, although they would have to have, and I hate to say this, the reason I don't have a problem with Connecticut Yankee is because it's the Arthurian legends, and I don't mind Brits adapting their own material. But the issue is that a lot of times when Brits try to adapt American stuff, or Americans try to adapt British stuff, it doesn't turn out well because our sensibilities are a bit different.
Uh-huh.
And so, because the Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court centers on the Arthurian stuff, it doesn't matter as much because that is their own source material. But the Huckleberry Finn stuff might be a little problematic unless they brought in an American co-producer or somebody with sensibilities from here to kind of mesh with theirs.
I'd tell you what they could do, which would be awesome. Robin Hood.
Robin Hood would be good, especially if they adapted from the original medieval poetry, because the original Robin Hood myths come from an oral tradition, a poetic oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be neat. That would be good.
Yeah, that explains the old Richard Green series. Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men.
Oh, Lord, I think I missed that one.
It was basically I think it was a 1950s or 1960s series that ITC did of Robin Hood.
That would explain why.
It starred Richard Green, an actor called Richard Green, I think. But it used to get rerun a lot here in the UK back in the 70s. So everyone knows the song. Everyone who was raised in the 70s and early 80s knows the song almost off by heart. It's one of those. It's just damn stupid. I think we should edit my singing out.
That's okay.
But moving on from the Big Finish stuff, it'd be great to do a Big Finish show at some point and maybe see if we can get somebody else on the show, because as you know, we had Nicholas Briggs on here a couple of years back, so I'm thinking of approaching them and asking the guy that's producing the H.G. Wells series of audios to come on.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be excellent.
But moving on from Big Finish, because I know that we could both talk about it until we're blue in the face.
Yes.
We had another announcement fairly recently, a couple of weeks back. Peter Capaldi revealed in an interview for the BBC that he was going to be departing Doctor Who after Series 3 and after the Christmas special.
Not a shock. I just hope that the writing for his final series is better than it's been.
Well, to be honest, I thought the writing for his second series was quite a big improvement. I felt that second series was probably the best series that Moffat had done in a while, to be honest.
Yeah. My biggest is the writing overall was stronger for the second series. My biggest problem with it was, and this is systemic, the need to make the companion such a POV character.
Yeah, but the companion's always been a POV character. It's just that in recent years, since the reboot, they've made the companion even more of a POV character.
I would like them to dial it back just a smidge. Just a smidge, because
if you look at Sarah Jane Smith and Joe Grant, they were classic POV characters.
Yeah, but for some reason it didn't overpower the show.
I think another reason it's kind of like overpowered the show a little bit is they've actually given the Doctor a sexuality now, as in the classic series he was more of the crazy uncle that he wanted to go on adventures with. There wasn't really. He was more of a parental sort of figure, an authoritarian kind of figure, but a mad, crazy, wild, eccentric authoritarian kind of figure that you just wanted to hang out with.
And I guess I'm still reacting to the fanficization of the series.
Well, it was the fans that saved it, and I'm afraid it's probably something we're going to have to live with.
Probably.
But the discussion is. We've had Hayley Atwell lobbying herself to be the next Doctor since a convention that, was on last year. She says she'd like to be the next Doctor Who. She can't see the problem with being a female Doctor Who, which tells me that she obviously doesn't know the series.
They could get away with a female Doctor Who if they cast someone like Tilda Swinton.
It needs to be someone. It needs to be it needs to be a woman who's sort of like mid-40s.
Yeah,
I think, in order for them to carry it off right. But that said, the whole Dos Ex Machina sort of thing again. It was established in the classic run that sort of like there were female Time Lords. So why have a male Time Lord morph into a female Time Lord?
Yeah, and my biggest issue is even if they do a female Doctor well, that implies that we could theoretically have a male Romana, and I don't want a male Romana.
Yeah, what would it be called? Roman?
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
It wouldn't work.
Unless he was gay, and they played with the idea of the male Romana being sort of like a campy sort of like vulnerable sort of like gay guy that sort of like develops teeth, as it were.
Maybe.
But that said, you'd have to tread very carefully there. I mean, I think I'd probably be inclined to sort of like if it was to sort of like they actually need another gay character in Doctor Who, I think.
Yeah, they're not going to bring back Captain Jack, regrettably.
Yeah, well, Captain Jack is going to be a tough act to follow, but they need to sort of like if they change the sex of the Doctor to a woman, which I think is quite unlikely at the moment. I don't think it'll be that quite that brave. I think the first hurdle they need to leap over is casting a black guy as the Doctor, or an Indian or an Asian.
They probably won't get an Indian, at least not from Bollywood, because Bollywood has strict conventions against displays of sexuality in their movies.
Well, that'd be great, because that means I could dial back the sexuality of the Doctor then.
Oh, it just means that they won't cast an Indian. That's probably what's going to happen more than dialing it back. I would like them to dial it back that way, because bringing in the Indian sensibility, because the Indian in Bollywood, they do convey sexuality, but they do it very, 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 very subtly. Mm-hmm. There's nothing overt about it. They're not even allowed kissing scenes in Bollywood movies. Mm-hmm. So. It would be a refreshing change of pace if they brought in an Indian actor who came in from Bollywood and didn't want to alienate his Bollywood fan base.
Yeah, I can actually see it now. Doctor Who goes Bollywood with a bunch of Daleks with different coloured and floral shirts and all that.
It might actually improve the Dalek storytelling for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Dalek singing Bollywood Bhangra sort of tunes.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would, actually.
And Cybermen, dressed in Hawaiian grass skirts.
Oh, God.
That's going too far. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's sad that Capaldi's going, and I'm also sad that he wasn't really serviced very well in the first season. The
first season was straight up fanfic. The first season, at first I was angry that they were going, it's okay to have an older Doctor, it's okay to have, it's like, why are we having this debate at all? And then I got angry because, they were saying he wasn't sexy, and I'm like, au contraire. There's a whole contingent who thinks he's sexy, thank you very much, including the woman he's been with for 35 years. So. Yeah.
You know what really tipped me off about it? It was in the first episode he had, they had to have a phone call. They had to have Matt Smith's 11th Doctor call Clara up to let her know that it's okay and that this Doctor really is him. And I thought that was just sort of like stupid.
That was straight up fanfic.
It wasn't straight up fanfic, it was just straight up stupid.
It was stupid, but yeah.
It's sort of like, we didn't see Sarah Jane Smith get a phone call off John Pertwee's doctor.
No.
What's so special about Clara that she needs this phone call?
That's the other thing. It's like all of the modern companions are extra special snowflakes with destinies, and they've got to quit that trope.
Yeah, they need to. What they need to do is they need to sort of like have a companion, go with him for maybe a season, maybe a season and a half, and then just kill her off and not bring her back. Do an Ardrick.
Yeah, we've got an Ardrick coming because they've teased deaths and then metaphorically gotten out of them. With these weird ass narrative choices and things. We're owed a straight up death. Although I think Moffat would argue that the pawns represented a straight up death and that they aged death because of the angels.
Yeah, but in a way, I thought that was actually a nice ending for the pawns. That was actually deserved and earned.
Yeah, I actually liked it very much. It's my favorite of the modern companion departures so far, actually.
And they were good modern companions as well. But yeah, I'm just sad that Capaldi is leaving. I can't really envisage who will take on the role next. One person that's actually been talked about a lot as a female doctor over the last couple of years is a TV presenter called Sue Perkins.
Okay, I'm not seeing the face. I'm vaguely recognizing the name, but I'm not seeing the face.
She has a very doctorish style about her, the way she dresses and the way she presents herself. So I think she used to present Bake Off.
Okay.
But it's. I can't really see her doing it, to be honest, because as far as I know, she's only really done TV presenting. I don't think she's ever really acted.
Yeah.
But then again, she might have done for all I know. She might have just sort of like wound up in a career where she became quite successful for TV presenting. But so I don't know. I mean, out of the male actors, there's probably a whole mode of them that I could see playing the Doctor, but there's also ones that I couldn't see. Like Eddie Izzard always comes up onto the radar when it comes
no,
and I can't see him doing it.
No,
that would just be too. It'd be too obvious.
Rowan Atkinson, I think, would actually, because I know he played the Doctor for laughs in one of those charity skits, but Rowan Atkinson, if they turned him dramatic, could actually make a very effective Doctor.
Yeah, but he plays Maigret now.
Oh, that's right.
So I don't think that would pan out with his schedule for that. I don't know. I mean, so like James Nesbitt maybe.
Him I could see. Patterson Joseph.
Well, yeah, but I think they've missed the boat on Patterson Joseph.
Yeah, even if Timeless gets cancelled, I don't know if he'd have time to go back.
They could have Idris Elba as the badass Doctor.
That might work. Yeah, that could work.
That'd be an interesting choice, and be completely out of left field. What I think will happen is they're probably going to go young again.
Yeah. Which I don't mind as long as they're a decent actor. I mean, for all his youth, Matt Smith was also a really good actor. He did a lot of stuff.
I don't mind so long as I don't cast Daniel Radcliffe, because that guy can't act. I just saw like, I can't really see them going that way anyway, because Daniel Radcliffe's got a bit of a film career going on.
Yeah, who would make a good Doctor if they hadn't already cast him in another role is Mark Williams.
Ah, yeah.
Who they cast as Rory's dad, Brian, who was adorable, and I was so unhappy that we only got him for like 3 episodes or whatever it was.
They could always bring him back.
Mark Williams, based on everything I've seen him in, including Father Brown, could play the dramatic side of comedy and the comedic side of drama that role requires extremely well.
Yeah, do you know who I think probably make a good Doctor? And I don't know whether to do it because it'd be sort of like nepotism within the world of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Troughton's grandson, the one that was in Robin Hood, played Much.
Oh yes, yeah, he'd work. How if you're going with nepotism, Sean Pertwee would be awesome as well.
Yeah, but he's regular on Gotham, so I don't think that'll work.
Yeah.
And he's actually really good in Gotham.
He's really good in Gotham.
Yeah.
He's one of the saving graces of Gotham, which sucks. That's another story.
Well, yeah, no, that's another one. So moving on from Doctor Who, we've had another couple of weeks of the DC shows. Which should we start off with? Should we start off with Supergirl?
Yeah, let's just go in order of airing. It's the easiest way to do it.
Okay, well, I don't really remember much from what happened on Supergirl, so you're gonna have to remind me because I've kind of forgotten about it already.
Oh, the last episode we saw is the episode where they had the only subplot that mattered in the episode was the Martians. Where McGann was dying and Jean was prepared to let her, but eventually does the mind meld to get her to come back.
Yeah, that's why I'd forgotten about it, because the only subplot that mattered was that, and all the other bleeding plots were just sort of like soap. So that's the end of discussion as far as I'm concerned, as far as Supergirl goes.
Yeah, let's move on.
So we'll move on now to Flash. Now, last week's Flash, was it the one where Iris goes off with Kid Flash? Yes,
the one where she goes off with Kid Flash, and it's eventually decided at the end of the episode that the Kid Flash is the one who's got to try to save her because Barry's just not fast enough.
Yep.
That was the one.
Kind of saw that coming, though, didn't we?
Yeah, and I actually like it. It's a very effective way to integrate Wally into this version of the narrative, and it's also a very effective way to acknowledge, even if they don't actually kill Barry off, it's a very effective way to acknowledge the fact that Kid Flash in the canon does become Barry's legitimate successor. Yeah,
and also in the canon, he's also faster than Barry.
Yes.
So it's true to the canon of comics that way as well. I really enjoyed the. It was also the one where Vi got to take on Gypsy, wasn't it?
Oh yes, Vi. Oh yes, that rocked. And they even had a micro Supergirl crossover with Miss Tessmacher. It was kind of awesome as they were vibing through the various dimensions. I hope that we see Gypsy again, because Jessica Camacho, who plays her, rocked in the part. She did really well. She
did as well. I really loved that moment where she's lost the fight and they're sort of like parting. They're parting company with each other, and Cisco leans in for a kiss, and she's about to reciprocate, and then she suddenly vibes out. I thought that was beautifully done.
Yes.
I mean, talk about moving a guy wanting more.
Yeah, the shit for those of us who don't like soaps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was very effective. I also like the fact that Tom Felton's Julian seems more organically included in the narratives, integrated into the narratives now.
Yeah, and he's still a dick.
And he's still a dick, and they did it, and they did it with him still being a dick.
Yeah. But I think he's kind of taking over for Tom Cavanagh's role to a certain extent, because Harrison Wells was a dick.
Yeah.
But not quite as much of a dick. I'm
actually okay with that because Cavanaugh is obviously relishing playing it with a slightly different tack. So
he is. I kind of really enjoyed that episode of Flash, which is, I'm surprised I've actually remembered so much of it. Because I've actually done so much writing and God only knows what in the last week. It's sort of like it's kind of hard to retain all this stuff in my head.
Yeah.
But I've got my capable assistant next door to me right here, Pepper. She's sort of like reminding me.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Pepper. Yes.
Yeah, she's kind of like pretending to ignore. She's half asleep.
Oh, that's okay. So we move on to Arrow.
Arrow. I know
this is the episode with the new canary.
Yeah, and it was a really good episode. It's probably the best episode of the season.
Of the current season. Yeah.
And I kind of really enjoyed the kind of like the way they used the flashback sequence in this episode, and the way that flashback sequence serviced the actual plot of the episode. It doesn't seem to have been servicing the plot of the prior episodes
No,
until this one comes
and it
on.
also helps that episode introduced Talia. And I have to say, let's just talk about Talia for a minute, because there's massive structural irony in waiting to introduce Talia after her sister has disbanded the League of Assassins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a major plot development, so I'm really hoping the sisters actually meet on screen to discuss that major plot development.
Yeah.
That's an existential plot development relative to the two of them.
And I actually said that in my review, that it'd be good to see both Talia and Nissa together.
Yes, because they've got some stuff to talk about.
Indeed they have. Such as the death of their father,
Yes.
Raissa, and all of that stuff. I kind of really enjoyed the episode with the new canary. I enjoyed how they the flashbacks and the present, played out side by side, and even Renee got something, got quite a meaty role. In it, and Curtis, I'm kind of glad that they sort of like wheeled him back as a geek, because he wasn't working as a hero.
No, and I don't know if that arc was them just because they don't know what to do with him, or whether they actually thought they were doing some half-assed teen allegory, or what it was they thought they were accomplishing with that arc, but they didn't quite get there.
They didn't, but now they've got a new canary in the game. If she comes back, it's sort of like it kind of brings the team full circle again, especially now they've got Diggle out of jail as well.
Yeah, although it doesn't excuse the fact that they botched writing Canary properly in the first place. I mean, the fact that they brought in Katie Cassidy as Black Siren and then brought in this new Canary, Dinah Drake, is just proof that they botched original Canary Laurel Lance in the first place.
Uh-huh.
If they had written her properly in the first place, none of this would have been necessary.
Yeah, because they wrote Laurel Lance as a kind of pathetic drunk. And that didn't work for me. And Laurel Lance didn't become interesting until she became Black Siren.
And that is truly, truly sad commentary, because it's very obvious that Katie Cassidy worked her ass off.
Mm-hmm.
She really, really tried. And the fact that the writers couldn't get from A to B, even though she was actually trying and everyone around her was actually trying, is just really, really sad.
Mm. And I hate to say it, but I really hated her arc in the second season.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
Her arc in the second season was like the worst.
It's because it was straight up soap. And that's the problem. Laurel Lance's arc until third season was straight up soap.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally didn't know what to do with her. And like I said, she did the best she could. The other actors did the best they could, but it wasn't until Black Siren, because Black Siren has only been on the screen for like a couple of episodes between two different shows, and she's had a better arc with those two episodes than Katie Cassidy had with Laurel Lance in the entire 4 years that she was a regular prior to that.
Mm. It is sad, and it's kind of like. I guess they've kind of learned from that, though, because if you look at the female characters in The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, they've actually got stronger arcs than she had in Arrow.
Yeah, even Kendra Saunders, who had the weakest arc in Legends Season 1, still had a stronger arc than Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
And they learned some hard lessons. I'm just sorry they couldn't learn them for her.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess she was kind of like the guinea pig.
Yeah.
But moving on, now...
Legends of Tomorrow.
We should have done...
Legion of Doom.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, God. we could devote an entire episode just to this one episode of that one show. I wish to God we could actually get a spin-off.
They were awesome. The Legion of Doom actually outshone the main cast.
They were meant to in this one particular episode, because it was meant to be shown from their perspective. And you know the scary part is that Wentworth Miller isn't even officially integrated into the Legion of Doom yet. They're still waiting on him.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how it's obvious going to bring him back. It's basically going to be Eobard Thawne time traveling.
Yeah.
And they'll probably pluck him from the moment before he died, or or a couple of months before he joined Legends, the Legends.
Yes. Yeah, although I have to say, I'm really loving what this means for Rip Hunter, Arthur Garver's Rip Hunter. Because he's obviously going to go through several iterations before they get his brain unscrambled.
Oh yeah, and the cliffhanger last week where he's about to assassinate. Was he about to assassinate George Washington or something?
Yeah, he was about to. Yeah. In fact, the bullet goes off. So yeah, they've got a real problem.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
it's like It's going to be timeless on acid.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be time aberrations gone nuts. So that is now all the DC shows, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly move on to a show that I know that you didn't watch, but I watched the pilot episode of 24 Legacy earlier today, and I thought it was all right. Obviously the new guys know Jack Bauer, which is probably a good thing. It's probably the kick up the arse 24 needed, as a concept show, because in my books, Jack Bauer had lived a few days too many, really.
He had, and that's one of the reasons why I as well written and well acted as this iteration certainly probably is, given the cast. I just don't have the energy for the tropes anymore.
It's the same tropes as always. I mean, the Miranda Otto had an excellent moment in the pilot episode where she actually tases the head of CTU.
Oh dear!
Because she's kind of like she's the former head of CTU, by the way, but she's sort of like stepped down to assist her husband, who's running for president. So she's kind of like put her name down as future First Lady, but it looks like her days as a future First Lady are probably done for.
Oh dear!
After having tasered the head of CTU, but it's kind of like it was a good scene in which she was running up with the new Jack Bauer character. I think he's called Eric Carter or something or other.
Yes, yeah.
And basically she's running this off illegally, and the guy catches her. But there was a nice little throwback to the original series. Remember Edgar Stiles from season 3 and 4?
Yes.
Well, basically, his cousin is now an analyst at CTU.
Oh, cool.
And she's pretty hot. as far as an analysts go. But it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see how that little plot develops, because she's kind of like started off as a wet behind the ears analyst, and she's already got under the skin of the lead analyst there, who's taken an instant dislike to her. And much like Chloe started out in season 3, I think it was, she's a bit of a busybody. She's out to prove herself. So I got a feeling that she could be the new Chloe O'Brien.
Oh, okay.
It seems to be following that sort of like plot thread sort of thing. Although none of CTU have actually met the new guy yet.
Okay.
I should imagine it's probably a matter of time. That might happen in tonight's episode, or it might happen in next week's episode. But I thought it was pretty good. It was it was good fun. The characters were, for the most part, quite likeable, but not too likeable. And I'm hoping it does well.
It probably will. It probably will.
And another thing that we've been watching is Timeless, which was off for a break this last week, wasn't it?
No.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've seen it. It was that daft one in which Wyatt tries to save his wife.
Yeah, that one.
And I felt it was a pretty weak one, that, to be honest.
Yeah, it was.
Although the 80s references to the A-Team and Manimal were fun.
Yeah, those were fun. Those were good.
But yeah, I think that's about it, unless you want to talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Let's see, where were we? Oh, yes, finally, the life model decoy May has been outed. And so we're going to see the fallout from that this coming week.
Yeah, and Coulson's going to have a William Shatner line where he says, "I can't believe I kissed you."
Yeah, they decided that throwing in the potential ship between the two is okay. I mean, it sort of works, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like, this second half of the season, it seems to have lost something without Ghost Rider, but they can't bring him back now because they've kind of like written him out of it.
Yeah. Problem is the ratings for this season have not been brilliant, and it's a bubble show.
Mm.
So,
well, they never have been brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah, I frankly at this point don't care one way or the other whether it comes back or not. If it does, I'll watch it. If it doesn't, I won't lose sleep.
I don't. I probably feel the same way because let's face it, if you've got Netflix, there's plenty of other Marvel stuff coming out on that. We've also got Legion coming out.
Yeah, that comes out this Wednesday. I'll be checking it out. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it doesn't suck.
I'm hoping it doesn't suck either.
I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen this is awesome, and I've seen, oh my god, what did I just watch? So. It's going to be interesting to see, what I actually think of it.
Okay, well, I think that about wraps things up for this week, don't you?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Here at SFP Now, I think we're pretty sure we got our priorities straight.
Okay, well, I'd like to again thank Raissa for joining us. I'd also like to thank David Haydn Jones again for his time, for the interview earlier in the show. And we'll be back at you again real soon with more great features and interviews. So keep your ears open and don't forget to check out our other shows as well as Genretainment. And hopefully soon joining the podcast as a regular thing will be episodes of Super Geeked Up done by Jeff Burns. It basically an audio rips of the episodes that he does on YouTube. We'll be releasing them here on SciFiPulse Radio.com. Well, that's about it for now. We'll see you later. Bye.